today we're going to talk about a couple of phrases, two that are kind of connected. They are the more, or and the second one will be related. But here, let's go with the more. It's yuèláiyuè. So the more, in English we might say, the more I persevere, the more I grow as a person. Or I might say, the redder the apple, I love apples, the redder the better. It rhymes, the redder the better. So that'd be like the more red, the more good. But, obviously in English we'd say the redder the better. So the more. In Chinese, it's just yuè phrase, and it works very much the same, I think, as the phrase the more. It's pretty flexible. You can have one subject yuè, and then another subject, different subject, and then yuè. Or you could have one subject yuè something. So it's pretty flexible. We have 我吃的越多，肚子越痛. So this means the more I eat, the more my stomach hurts. Or it could be talking about past tense as well. So the more I eat, the more my stomach hurts. Here we have a degree complement. So it's talking. It means 我吃的多. It means I am eating a lot, or I ate a lot, something like that. 我吃的多. So 越 means the more. So the more I eat, 肚子 stomach 越痛. So does that make sense? It's kind of like subject 越. But this whole 越 phrase is all part of the. I'm sorry, not the whole 越 phrase. This part is part. The 越多 is connected to this degree complement. But here we have a switch of subject. So I 吃的越多, then the subject changes. My stomach 越痛, the more my stomach hurts. So the more I eat, the more my stomach hurts. Here we have one subject. We have 橙子, meaning orange. So like the fruit, orange. 橙子越橙越好吃. So here 橙 is acting as a color, orange. So the orange, the more orange the orange is, the better it tastes. That's what, I wonder if I could translate that to English better. Oranges, the more orange an orange is, the better it tastes. I don't know if there's a better way to translate that, but you'll notice that Chinese is much simpler. It's 橙子越橙越好吃. So here it's acting as a color. Now I'm not 100% sure this sentence flies in China, but I'm pretty sure, especially if I changed it to apple, 苹果越红越好吃. I think that I'm pretty sure it works, but I guess I'm not 100% sure. I'm not Chinese, so sometimes when I create sentences, there's a little bit of doubt in me that it's exactly perfect. I know I could say the color. If I say 橙子的颜色越橙越好吃, that would be like absolutely clear. But anyway, I think this works. 我们越想越生气. This is from All Set Learning. So we 越想. Here 想 means to think. 越生气. 生气 means angry. So the more I think, the more we think, the angrier we become. The more. So you notice that it's a little. Sometimes the grammar, I guess, is a little simpler than English. In English, we have to say, the more I think, the angrier I become. Here it's just we 越想越生气. The more think, the more angry. Now this, of course, isn't talking about like thinking about the meaning of life, or it's not about thinking in general. It's probably talking about thinking about something specific. Like the more I think about it, the more we think about it, the angrier we become. So I also wanted to point out that in English, we might sometimes say the more the less, like the more I see it, the less I want to see it. So like talking about, some show, like the more I see it, the less I want to see it. In Chinese, you don't really have the option to say the less. So you'd have to say that sentence that I just said in English would be 我越看越不想看. The more I see it, the more I don't want to see it. And so it's just that option for the more, the less. We have that in English. In Chinese, you just say the more, and just do it in like a negative form. There you have it. That's 越越. In the next clip, we'll talk about 越来越, which is connected. All right, in this clip, we're going to talk about a very similar phrase, and you'll see in a moment that it's really connected. It means more and more. Like something is more and more adjective. Or this phrase can also come before certain psychological verbs, certain verbs. So the idea here is, like, let me give you an English, well, I'll just give you an example here. 天气越来越冷了. So we have the weather, 越来越冷, cold, 了. So the weather is getting colder and colder. So that's more and more cold. But in English we say colder and colder, right? 天气越来越冷了. All of these examples are from All Set Learning. And the phrase, the formula is subject, 越来越, and then adjective, and then 了. Or it's subject, 越来越, verb, and then 了. Certain verbs you can use it with. Like, here we have one meaning to understand something. So you understand it more and more. So it can come before certain verbs. The reason it's just like what we learned in the last clip, 越, is because you can imagine that 来 means to come. So think of the days coming. So like the more the days come, or the more time passes, the more something happens. And so it's like more and more. It's like it's colder and colder. So the more time comes around, the more a particular adjective happens or comes to be. So 天气越来越冷了. So I see it as, even though it's a little bit different. In English we say the more, or more and more. I see it very connected in Chinese, even though we have a locked-in 来 here. It's 越来越. I see that 来 as being like the passage of time. 越来越冷了. And then the 了 is in this phrase, meaning talking about change. 越来越冷了. It works. It just goes with this 越来越 something 了. All right, 你说的越来越好了. This would be great when someone else says this about your Chinese. That's awesome. It's very encouraging. Or if you just want to encourage yourself, you can say this, look in the mirror and say this to yourself. 你说的, you speak. This is a degree compliment talking about how well something, the verb is happening. 你说的越来越好了. So you're speaking better and better. 你越来越了解我了. This is a fun. This is be great if your boyfriend or girlfriend or your wife or spouse says this to you. 你越来越了解我了. You are understanding me better and better. Now, it's also fun because we have the two different. This character is pronounced two different ways in the same sentence. Here it's 了解. It's part of a verb meaning to understand or to. It doesn't mean like. It doesn't mean to understand in the sense that I could hear and understand what you just said, or it has to do with like learning to understand or coming to a better grasp on something or studying something. It has that kind of feel to it, that kind of understanding, learning. So 你越来越了解我了. So here, 了解 is actually a verb, to understand me, but this can come before certain verbs. So there you have it. I also meant to point out that 越 by itself, as it means to, where was it in my notes? It means to, okay, here we go. It means to exceed, to abound. 超越 means it means literally to exceed, or to pass, in the sense of like the amount is more, to go faster or something like that. So yuè means it kind of has that idea of abounding or excess. So it kind of fits that, like the more this, the more that, the more this happens, the more that abounds. And there we have yuè or yuèláiyuè. Hi, in this little segment, we're going to talk about saying not even one, or then expanding that structure to mean not even a little. So, admittedly, this is at once simple and complex. It is both simple and complex. It's not when you look at these phrases, they're all really simple. They're not a lot of words, but it's complex because the order, the way the words, it's not a direct translation from English. The way this works is just sometimes it's like you got to do some mental gymnastics to get to from what it means in English to what it means in Chinese or vice versa. Now, obviously, it's best if you like speak in like kids do, right? You're not thinking about translation, but you have to learn these things too, and sometimes breaking it down and analyzing it can help you get there. Okay, let me show you kind of the formula for the phrase. And this is also kind of scary looking, but you'll notice in the sentences themselves, they're very short. So it's really in practice, it looks a lot simpler. But it goes like this. It's measure word, or no, it's E, or E, or it'll usually be fourth tone or second tone, depending on what comes, the tone of the next word. So it's E, measure word, and then the noun, or it's an understood noun. It's not always there. So it might be like an omitted understood noun. So we have the number one, a measure word, either an understood or a spoken noun, and then we have dou or ye. So in this case, they function the same to mean something. And then we have one of the negators. It's either bu or mei. Bu, if it's for talking about a present thing or that's happening now or happening regularly, or in the future. If it's talking about a past action that hasn't happened, then you use may, and then a verb. So this is, it's not that complicated. We have a 一个人, that would be a measure word phrase. So we have a number plus measure word plus noun. So like, for example, 一个人, that would be one person, 一个人. And then we have either 都 or 也. And then we have a negator, either 不 or 没, and then a verb or a verb phrase. Okay, so that looks complicated on paper, but you'll find out it's not that bad. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples. Here's a very simple sentence. 一个人, so that we had, with the number, measure word, noun, 一个人都没 did not come. So it means not even one person came. That's how you'd say it in English. Not even one person came. But in Chinese, that like not even idea is captured in the word 都. So one person 都没来. You see what I mean by even though it's a simple sentence, it takes some mental gymnastics to understand how you put it together. Because in English or in Chinese, you don't have to say not even one person came. It's one person 都没来. Here we have another example. 我一毛钱. So here we have a different subject. And this is more like the, the object of the sentence, but it's put before 都, because you might remember me saying before that 都will only describe or modify, or I don't know if that's the right word, but it'll only apply to the things that come before it. So you do all kinds of gymnastics to get the thing before it. So even though this is an object, it's kind of like an object stuffed before 都, and rather than putting it after the verb. So here we have I, that's the subject of the sentence. Then we have 一毛钱. 一毛钱, I don't know if you remember this. 毛this is money. So 一毛, this is a dime or a tenth of a kuai. So one dime. 我一毛钱都没 did not 花 spend. So there we have it. I did not spend even one dime. Does that make sense? I did not spend even one dime. But in Chinese, it's going to look like this. 我一毛钱都没花. All right, and then I also wanted to show you that this structure can apply to a meaning not even a little, because 一点 means a little, right? But if you break down 一点 into its basic things, it means 1 point of something. 1 point of something. So it really is the same as this. It's a measure word phrase. It just doesn't have the something. It's kind of like a not specific. So it means a little. It means 1 point of something. So it's a little of something. And then we can we have the same thing. Do. So we have this is the number 一, the measure word 点, do, the negator, and then the verb. 一点都没有. So that means a little 都没有. I don't know what the subject is. It's not stated here, but let's say it's I. I don't have even a little. 一点都没有. Here we have 一点水. So here I put in the noun there, so it's more specific. 一点水, a little bit of water. 也没有. So here I used 也 instead of 都. It's the same idea. 没有, do not have. So I don't have, or if it's, again, we don't know what the subject is, but let's say it's I don't have even a little bit of water. 我一点水也没有. And this phrase, specifically the 一点 thing, can also be applied, instead of a verb at the end, it could be an adjective. So 我一点都不高兴. That would mean I'm not even a little happy. I'm not even a little happy. In other words, I'm very unhappy. 我一点都不高兴. So there you have it. There is actually a lot in this little segment, like this little structure I taught you. It can be applied to different things, and it can express a lot of emotion. It's kind of an extreme way to say something. Not even one, or I don't have even a little of something, or I'm not even a little adjective. So there's a lot of ways that it's very expressive, but it's very simple at the same time. So I hope you can understand this. You'll run into it and hear it, and you'll eventually be able to kind of do those gymnastics without feeling like you're doing gymnastics. So keep up the good work, and I'll see you in the next video.